Hi, y'all. I want to take you through one of the exercises you're going to do as part of Module 8. And what I've got up on the screen right now is the note taker for Module 8. I am going to scroll down a little bit. After you read Chapter 8 in Essential Linguistics, you will be ready to do the exercise. So it starts here, about midway down the first page. And the overall goal of this entire exercise is to get a little bit of practice using some online software that will help you in making some of those choices about which words you want to focus on. And choosing vocabulary is actually really challenging to do it well. So a lot of curricula, they're going to pick words for you. And you'll have those bold words, and maybe they'll go ahead and put little mini definitions in the sides of textbooks for you. That's a great place to start, but one of the problems is that textbooks tend to focus on the technical words that everybody's learning as part of that new unit. So they might be words like, let's say that you're reading through a chapter about geology. And so some of the words that might be bolded are sedimentary or igneous. These are really important words that are going to be part of a unit on geology. But those are also words that everybody's going to be learning because those are the new concepts. What you want to think about, and this is for all learners, but especially critical for kids that are learning English, is also think about some of the academic language that isn't just specific to that content area. What are some of the, I'll call them high leverage words, some of the words that by you spending a little bit of time with them in your classroom can help those students build a vocabulary that they can use across content areas or across classrooms. So these different software tools can really facilitate you in seeing those words because it's really hard to think of those on your own. Okay, so let me show you what you're going to do. The first step is just going to be to read the passage that I've given you. And because in our class, there's a range of your interests as far as if you want to end up in early childhood or elementary or even secondary education. So I picked kind of a middle level. So I picked a grade 4 or 5 informational text. And this is an exemplar that's listed in the Common Core Standards. One of their appendices to the standards lists some sort of example texts that they suggest for each grade level. So I just chose one. And your first job is just to do a first take. Read through this passage and think through what would be some words I might focus on, okay? And kind of go for your first gut reaction. And I know that this can be hard to do it sort of in the abstract without students and thinking through, well, what do they already know and what would be new? So just try to think of it broadly. Like, let's say it's the beginning of the year. I don't know my students that well. Which words might I start with? Okay. And so here is the passage. It's 2 sections out of a short informational passage about light. And as you read, you're going to think, well, what are some words I might want to do? Maybe I want to do natural. I don't know. Just choosing randomly. And you're going to highlight it. And you want to highlight 10 to 12 words that you think you would use. Now, let's say a word shows up more than one time. You don't have to highlight it every single time. You should end up with 10 to 12 highlights. If the word shows up more than once, great. All right, now after you do that, that's where we get into the technology. And this is the part that I really want to show you. So you're going to start by copying and pasting the text into the highlighter. And because you're going to do this text, I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to actually open up a different text. So this is that appendix I was talking about. And I'm just going to choose, just for the sake of example, the second half of a text all about fractals. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come back to the note taker so I can grab that web address. So we're going to use the highlighter first. And the highlighter is pretty self-explanatory. The other one, it's not as flashy looking. but it's also pretty cool. It just looks very old school. So you'll scroll down. You don't need to give them your name and email. You don't need to be part of their newsletter. Just skip that unless you really want it. But what you really want to focus on is this box here. So I'm just going to paste. All you got to do is hit submit. Ta-da! And what it's done, this is the box that now has your text, and they've highlighted words that show up in the academic word list. And I'm not going to talk much about the academic word list because your task before you even do this is to read a little bit about it. So I'll let you do that, and then whatever questions you still have, we can talk about in class. But as far as the tech goes, it's highlighted for you. It comes, they always just automatically do the first 5 sublists in gray and the second 5 in orange. But it's pretty easy to just, let's say, you want to change it so that each level has a unique color, for example. You can do that. So what I see now is that I have 2 words from the level 1 word list. And what I will tell you right now about the academic word list is it goes in order from 1, the most frequent, to 10, the least frequent. Okay? So this is some interesting information now that I have here and maybe helps me see some words that I wouldn't have thought about. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. On a Mac, you hold down Command, Control, Shift, 4. And then you can draw the box of what you want. It takes the picture. And when you do that key combination that I said, which again is Command, Control, Shift, 4, it saves it into the clipboard. So now when I come back to the note taker, I can just paste it. And I am going to paste it right here. If you use a PC, you're going to be using the Window key plus Shift plus S, or you could also use the snipping tool. All right, and I'm going to paste this right here. And there were some extra returns here, so I'm going to try to, see if maybe I can, nope, that's just going to mess it up. And that's fine. It can just be down here. All right, so what you've done now is you have preserved your results, essentially, of the different sublists. I'm going to back up slightly just to remind you. If we go all the way to the beginning of the exercise, I just said a minute ago the first thing you're going to do is read about it, and here's where you're going to read about it. This first resource, start there. It'll take you to the work that was done to create this list, and it actually comes out of a master's thesis project that was done by Avril Coxhead in Australia. And so you're going to read the how to use it and how she selected it and what those sublists are, so that when you use the highlighter, those 10 sublists, that's going to make more sense to you. Okay? All right, so let's go back to the exercise. So at this point, you would have read about the academic word list. Then you would have used the academic word highlighter to see which words from the academic word list are in the text. So we're going to pretend we've already done that. And we've pasted it here. And then you're going to think back to, okay, my original 10 to 12 words. All right. Were any of them on the academic word list? Cool. Write those down. And then would you add any of those words to your list? Or would you take off any of your words? So just kind of a pause, check in. What do I think about my list so far? Is this information relevant, considering that this text is for a, what did I say, 3rd, 4th grader? Got to scroll up and find out. I don't remember. 4th, 5th grader. All right, so I've got 4th, 5th graders. The words that the academic word list found, so in this case, for my text, it was create, process, and infinite. Do I think those would be good words to also add to my list? And would I get rid of any? Okay, then you're going to run the same text through one other piece of software, and that is the vocab profiler. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab my text again. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to scroll up and get the website. And this one is called LexTutor. This is the one that looks totally old school, right? Doesn't this look like the internet from 1990 something? Okay, don't worry about all the extra stuff. It does fancy things that we don't need. All you need to do, get rid of this, paste in your text, and then look for the yellow Submit Window button. Okay, and it gives you all this information. So what is this? Well, this summary chart, you're also going to take a screenshot of it. What it has done, it has counted all the words for you, which words are in the 1,000 most frequently used words in English, which words are in the second 1,000 most frequently used words in English, which words are on the academic word list, and then which words just aren't on any of these most frequently used words lists. Notice that it also separates it out for you into function and content words. You all know what those are now. And so it also gives us a sense of which words are Anglo-Saxon, and that will mean something to you after you have read the chapter for this week. So we've got some interesting percentages here. So it looks like the vast majority of our words in this text, about almost 80%, are within the list of 1,000 most frequently used words in English. And it's pretty evenly split between function words and content words. We've got some words, a few, that are from the second 2,000 words, a second 1,000 most commonly used words. So a total from the list of 2,000 most frequently used words in English, 83% of this text uses those words. And then about 1.5% is words that come off of the academic word list. So that gives us a summary view. You can also scroll down, and this is where I think it's pretty cool. It takes your original text on the left and it color codes it on the right. And so those blue words and those green words are the most frequently used. The red words are the ones that aren't on any list of most frequently used. And then the yellow words are the ones that come off of the academic word list. Notice when you look at those red words, don't those look like the words that would usually be bolded and on the side in a textbook of, these are the words you need to know for this lesson or this unit or this chapter? Kind of interesting, right? So this gives you some information about what are other words that might be worth bringing to the attention of your students because they're going to be frequently used and not just in math. So use this information to then think about how you might want to change the list that you originally came up with. I'm going to scroll up. What you'll be doing is you will collect one other screenshot, just this output summary. So let me come back to the notebook. I'm going to scroll back down. All right, so you're going to paste the screenshot here. And then this will be your last task. And I'm just going to move it down so it's all on one page. So this is where you will list the words that you originally chose at the very beginning of the exercise before you did any of the software. List them here. And then here's where you're going to summarize, well, the words that I chose, did they end up on any of the lists? So maybe they showed up in the academic word list. So you could just put AWL for that. Maybe they showed up using that second software program. Maybe they showed up as in the, we'll call them the most popular or most frequent 2,000 words in English. So that would have been the blue and the green words, okay? And then the other option is no, right? So this would be the red words from that second software program, the ones that don't show up on a frequency list, but are typically then as a result the highly technical words of that content area. So you're going to document the words that you had originally chosen, and then over here decide which ones you would keep and why. And then here you can add now, which words did you not have on your original list, but now that you've done the new, run your text through these two software programs, are there new words now that you think, oh, that would be a really good word to bring to the attention of my students? And which list inspired it for you? Okay? Yada, yada, yada. The very last thing you're going to do is then just a short 3 to 4 sentence summary. What did you take away from going through this exercise? Of first looking at a text just with your eyes and your own lenses, I guess literal and figurative, and then using some software to help you do, basically mathematical counts that would take way too long to do on your own. What do you take away from that, and how could you see that as being useful to you in your current or future teaching? All right, that's it. And let me know if you run into any problems and I can help you out.